What the President of the United States says must matter. We've said it over and over again on this program about former President Joe Biden when he was in office. And the same is true for President Trump. President Trump didn't have to, but he demanded unconditional surrender. That must be followed up with force within days or hours, not 2 weeks of a look-see. To be fair, the next 2 weeks, the Israelis will keep pounding Iran. So Trump has time, and this could be a diversion to lull the Iranians into a sense of complacency. It could be time for the military to plan covert actions, think SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force, rather than the bunker busters from the B-2. And to that end, there are an awful lot of U.S. military assets now spread across the Middle East, far more than there were a week ago. It includes naval ships in the Mediterranean, Red and Arabian Seas. These are spread out, you can see, across the region, and more on their way. Lately, all you have seen on TV is video of a B-2 bomber dropping a massive ordnance penetrator, the big bunker buster. But the U.S. military is planning for way more than that, and we know that because the USS Ford carrier strike group's expected to be deployed to Europe next week. The Ford could arrive by the second week of July, 2 weeks. The U.S. Air Force, we know, has moved a dozen or more advanced aircraft fighter wings, F-16s, F-22s, and F-35 fighter jets. Those would be key in intercepting any incoming drone or ballistic missile attacks from Iran. Also would provide close air support if, in the end, there was commando raids, either U.S. or maybe Israeli. Plus more than 24 strategic refueling planes on their way to the Middle East so that these fighter jets can stay in the air effectively for an unlimited amount of time. Same with the B-2 bombers. The man behind all of this movement is U.S. Central Command General Eric Kurlia, a battle-tested 4-star general. He earned the nickname the Gorilla. Last week, he told Congress he's been preparing for every possible outcome. And it's important to note the sound we're going to play you is from before Israel struck Iran.
If the president directed, is CENTCOM prepared to respond with overwhelming force to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran?
I have provided the Secretary of Defense and the President a wide range of options.
I take that as a yes?
Yes.
That's the man with the ear of Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Reports from our partners at The Hill and Politico suggest he's in favor of increased U.S. involvement. And a very interesting thing to note, he is set to leave his post sometime this summer. What a legacy. Think Stormin' Norman Schwarzkopf. Of course, any view of a potential U.S. strike must come through the lens of how Iran would retaliate, and they have promised they would, and how the U.S. is going to protect 50,000 American soldiers and also the Strait of Hormuz. That's critical. Iran could easily use its Navy and also land-based anti-ship missiles to either slow or stop traffic through the 90-mile-wide body of water, 21 miles between the tip there and Iran. You can see Bahrain with U.S. military installation there. 20% of the world's natural gas and about a third of the world's oil go through the Strait of Hormuz. So if Iran shuts it down or even threatens tankers, gas prices skyrocket. That is something that President Trump can't afford. So think about it this way as we're talking here about how the Pentagon is planning for things. They always bring a metaphorical tank to a knife fight. That doesn't mean they're going to need the tank or use it, but they have it. And the president has said he's going to make his decision within 2 weeks. That's fine. But there's been a lot of worry. He demanded unconditional surrender. He can't accept anything less. Iran must unconditionally give up its nuclear weapons or be disarmed by U.S. military force. When the president says something, it has to mean exactly that.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.